Hey folks, today we're covering the all-new quest system, world map, world transitions, interiors, and a new area outside of Edenvale. So let's get to it. Greetings citizens of the interweb, Matt here, your hydropowered ruler and guide to all things gaming and game development. I'm here this week to present yet another video showcasing our single-player medieval fantasy RPG that we're creating using the power of the Unreal Engine. As I said before, today's episode will cover our new quest system, our world map, world transitions, and interiors, as well as a new area outside of the Edenvale Mill. And today's video is going to be structured a little bit differently from previous episodes. So instead of breaking everything down into little chunks and chapters like we usually do, we're going to be moving through the entire episode in one big take where I show off each of the systems we've created in the game so far as we move through an entire quest line. Keep in mind that this isn't really a story quest, it's more of a small miscellaneous quest to show off some major game systems. Basically a little tutorial quest to help you get your bearings in town as you start the new game. Anyways, let's roll. Alright, so here we are in the world of Knightwatch to showcase the quest system we made. So, as you know, if you've watched previous episodes of this series, the game begins with a cave-in at the local mine just outside of Edenvale. A cave-in that you yourself not only caused, but get trapped in as well. When you finish character creation and take control of your player, you wake up here at the Edenvale Mill as, luckily, you were rescued by some miners who work for the Eden Company mine as they were escaping the cave-in. You've been asleep for some time, but now that you're up, it's time to get some answers. First things first, you need to find out where you are. So, obviously, you're not going to start out with the greatest armor, if any, but for our purposes, we've got some pretty sweet gear. So let's gear up and go talk to the millwright and figure out what's going on here. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I have re-recorded this episode a million times, and I just really hate the sound of my own voice. And I don't want to read the dialogue lines, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you the spark notes of what's going on in each quest, and if you like, feel free to pause the screen and read the full dialogue boxes. So, first and foremost, we approach the millwright who works for the Eden Company. The Eden Company also happens to run the local mine where we were caught in a cave-in. He tells us that some miners found us in the cave-in, brought us back here, and patched us up, and we're lucky to be alive. Now, without spoiling anything, we have good reason to get back there as soon as possible. It can't wait. So, we can proceed to ask for help back. As you can see, that option is highlighted in blue. Blue text indicates the start of a quest. That means if we choose this dialogue option, we'll start a quest, otherwise we can choose the white option and say we need a second to get our bearings, and we'll simply end the conversation. But that's for losers, so obviously we're going to start the quest. We ask for help getting back to the mine, and he basically tells us he doesn't have the time. In all the commotion surrounding the cave-in, one of his shipments from the mine got mixed up and brought to the wrong location. The shipment was mistakenly delivered to the smithy. The courier was probably just guessing, to be honest, because that's where I would guess the ore was heading to. But believe it or not, it was actually supposed to be delivered to the assistant at the fishery, and as a result, it's late. He says he can help us, but only once this is taken care of. After all, this is his job, and we are not. But as we leave, he tells us to stop by the marketplace for supplies since it's on our way anyways. Little does he know, I made this world, and I was able to add a bunch of awesome stuff to my inventory in secret, but that's just for us to know. So, now we have our very first quest, Explore Edenvale, and we're going to do just that. First things first, we have to leave the mill. As soon as we exit the mill, you can see that things look a little different outside. So, keeping with the theme of this being a mill, it only makes sense that trees are chopped down for wood. Before, this was a very dense forest, but given the context, that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. So, there we go, world building. And of course, we can always go and chop down wood for ourselves, and level up our woodcutting level. And later, even sell the wood for profit, or use it for crafting, which is exactly what we're going to do later. So, that's enough of that, let's head to town. But because walking is for losers, I'm going to summon our horse and ride there. He's also a much faster swimmer than I am, so I'm going to have him swim across the bay for us. We'll see you in a second. Okay, welcome back, and here we are just outside the open market, and I'm only now realizing that I totally blanked on marking our active quest so that the quest marker shows up on screen. So we'll do that now before we head over to the market. So we're arriving at the market where we can buy supplies and sell loot from our adventures. You can also see that now that we're at the market, our quest has once again updated to tell us where to go next. But I want to hang around here for a little while though. Let's talk to merchant Ethan Howells, who is actually named after one of our viewers on the channel. So Ethan is a self-proclaimed alchemist. However, he's not a legitimate one like the town alchemist who is under the employ of the Eden Company. No, he's more akin to a Wild West snake oil salesman. He sells raw ingredients, most of which are relatively useless to us at the moment. However, what he can do is help us craft items. Now, his crafting skill is a little bit higher than ours. Not much, but high enough to make a noticeable difference in crafting speed. So let's have him help us craft some sticks using the wood we chopped earlier. Later, once we mine some ore, which is conveniently located at the Edenvale mine, we can use these to craft some very rudimentary weapons. Great for a new player, but I've already added the best items to our inventory, so not super useful here. You can see that when we craft, we also increase our crafting level, even with the help of a crafter. Anyways, as is commonplace in RPGs, we ended up getting sidetracked. We have a shipment to pick up, so let's get back to it, shall we? So we can make our way over to the smithy where the shipment was erroneously dropped off and grab it so it can be delivered to the right location. You can see that once we pick up the shipment, our quest updates once again, giving us our final step, which is to drop the shipment off at the fishery to get our payment. So we'll head there next. Once we finally drop off the ore shipment at its intended destination, we receive our payment, which unfortunately is a crappy steel sickle, which to be honest wouldn't be horrible if we weren't already such a high level. So now we have a couple of choices. We can go back to the mill and talk to the millwright, who will thank us for helping and give us our next quest, which will mark the location of the Eden Company mine. Or we can walk straight there since we made the game and already know where it is. Doing this would bypass the delivery quest completely, so we didn't really need to do it, but I wanted to just to show off the system. And now we can really just jump right into the first dungeon without having to bother the millwright. So just to prove to you that there are no Pokemon game style roadblocks that prevent you from just going straight there and entering the mine without doing the quest, or instead of going back to the millwright, we'll just head straight there. And there you have it, the Edenvale mine, and we didn't even need help finding it. No roadblocks, no invisible walls. So we can delve deep into the mine to get back to the site of the cave-in, and finally start the story that will kick off our adventure here in the world of Knightwatch. So I hope you enjoyed this showcase of the quest system in our game, and I'm sorry it took so long to get out. The quest system was giving me all kinds of trouble when it came to having multiple locations that we jump between, for example going in and out of buildings. But I figured it out, thank goodness, it just took forever. Anyways, that does it for today's episode of Knightwatch: A Journey. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it entertaining or informative in some way, although, as always, I doubt that second part. If you did like the video, please consider checking out some of the other content on the channel, and consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support goes a long way in helping the channel grow, so I can spread my influence and eventually rule the world. Thank you for watching, and get lost.